Hello everybody and welcome back to the Prince of Persia 2008 walkthrough. It's time for another level in the Vale. And once again I cannot remember for the life of me what this place is called. But I do think it's a really good level of all of them. It's got two really evil light seeds, which you will see once we've healed the damn place, but we need to get there first. And as I said before, this is a really kind of unusual fertile ground in the grand scheme of things.
Do you think it's a good idea to let them know we're coming?
These guys might be stupid enough to sell their souls, but even they should have figured out our plan by now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a very
Aren't you at least a little
secretive or unique plan.
I only wish we'd destroyed them while we could.
Where did you learn
It is essentially just heal the fertile ground. It's kind of the only thing you can do. So if they haven't figured it out by this point, then they really are that stupid. Also, I really like this music. It really ups the tension.
Like he knew we were coming.
Like our destiny was entwined.
Well, yes, our destiny kind of is entwined, but yeah, we actually basically start off the level with fighting the alchemist, and this is kind of the first of the unique things about this area. Because it gets all a lot different. Kind of. Also, here he is with his magic defense thing. At this point you have to use Alaka to hit him. Now, something that I've kind of just noticed in the alchemist's design is that kind of the way that his kind of chest forms and goes into his legs, it kind of looks like a skull, which is quite cool. I mean, I think a lot of the corrupts have a sort of skull motif in their design. I know it's certainly the case with one of the corrupted. But it is quite noticeable on the alchemist. Also, you can kind of see now that they do like to start using the quick time event attack powers quite frequently once you kind of start getting to this point, and it's just going to get worse in that respect. They are literally just going to keep doing them, and the strings of them are just going to get longer and longer. I mean, thankfully they do kind of stop after one of every type for a period. But yeah, he's covered as in corruption. And now the prince is rather injured.
Great. So after all this, I just get to join Ahriman's Happy Club?
Only Ahriman can create a corrupted.
So I just get to die.
Well, that's pleasant.
The healing might purge the corruption if I can hold it back long enough for us to get there. We'd better hurry.
So, despite the fact that the prince is obviously in a lot of pain, he can still platform.
We're gonna wait for me to die, or, try something.
And it's quite clever that kind of during this phase you've got the dark green thing encroaching on the screen. It kind of does darken everything up a little bit, and give you the sense that time is short for the prince.
Let's get going.
I mean, I don't think there is exactly a time limit on it, but obviously you want to try and do this as quickly as possible. Don't want the prince to be going through pain for much longer. And something that's kind of even more interesting that I believe is gonna happen once we've healed the fertile ground is that the dialogue is, if you do it, is mostly the prince kind of just
Are you ready to go on?
going
Well,
and
we could stay here.
kind of going,
View's nice.
in pain. I don't quite know how to describe it, but it's essentially doing stuff like that. But it's also quite interesting that kind of mostly throughout the game, the Prince and Alec are quite happy to talk, but at this moment it kind of conversation is not really a thing that is desired to happen, so that they kind of don't really talk, even if you try to make them. It's really cleverly done, to be honest.
Can we not stand around?
And the other thing about this level is that it's very mechanical, and there's lots of moving things, and I really like it as a level design, because the platforming challenge itself is rather unique, and then the fact that you've got this whole, the prince is coated in corruption, you've got to get through this as quickly as possible, it just works.
Here we go.
That added to the fact that the fight with the alchemist happens right at the start instead of right at the end, so it just changes the pace a little bit, which is much appreciated considering how similar a lot of the fertile grounds are.
Not much further.
Time to see if the healing will work. It will work, right?
Bloody hope it does, because otherwise this would be a very depressing end
Only using the pain for
to
effect. I hear it's
the
a good way
game.
to get dates.
Now, you'd think that the alchemist would return, because I don't think we got rid of all of his health, but nope, he doesn't. And the green mist starts to clear away, and then just magically disappears, even though she's not healed him properly yet, but I dunno. The healing seems to have worked perfectly fine, which is good going by me, I think.
It worked. The corruption's gone.
Good to hear the relief in your voice. Here was me thinking it was a certainty. Seems we can change fate after all.
It's always possible to change fate. Now, I believe that this thing here is for where you get the Titanic view achievement. I mean, just look at that. It's insane. I mean, I love the fact that you can see the light seeds
More about this.
all over the area.
We should go on.
Here I
I mean,
am
so many
fighting
games
someone else's
have
war.
such
This is exactly
poor
what I
draw
did want to do in
distance,
my life.
and yet somehow they managed to get something pretty damn good right here. And you can get round this entire map without any loading unless you teleport. So it's like, wow. You just wouldn't expect it, especially considering after this game came out, there were games that did worse in this respect. So even though this game isn't the most well-liked thing in the world, it still manages to do better than some games that came out after it, which I find utterly remarkable considering how little people do care about this game. Although saying that, I don't think anybody actively hates the game. They just don't really like it. Also, this is a wonderful glitchy bug. I'm very glad that I didn't actually get stuck there, because otherwise that would have been a pain in the butt. But it's just another one of the bugs that I just thought, that's too funny not to leave in. But yes, as I was saying, I think the main reason that people don't like this game is because it bores them. They don't hate it. There's just a general apathy towards it, which is understandable. It's very, very, very easy to receive gamer apathy. And there are plenty of games that I am very, very, very apathetic towards. And it's only very rarely that a game annoys me so much that I have a strong dislike for it. As is the case for the likes of Epic Mickey and Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. And also to an extent Sonic Lost World, but my reasons for getting angry at that game are completely different to Epic Mickey and Sonic Chronicles. Because those games are really bad. I can literally see no redeeming factors for either of them because they are dull, they don't really work properly, and the stories are just bland. And so's the music, from what I... well, particularly Sonic Chronicles, music was just awful. Sonic Lost World had some things going for it, but there were just a lot of some very, very bad decisions which just made it really unfun. And now getting away from those games which I dislike a lot, back to Prince of Persia, which is, as I have been saying a lot, I do really like this game. I don't know what it is. I think I am just very patient sometimes when it comes to my video games, which is why I'm okay with things that are slightly slower paced, even if I like my really, really, really action-heavy titles. Also, this is what I was talking about the Prince doing. I don't know why he's doing it now, because he's been bloomin' healed, but I guess that happens with the dialogue. But yeah, I've got an insane level of patience when it comes to pacing the game. It's kind of why I did enjoy Skyward Sword, and it's why I do enjoy Eternal Sonata. And it's why I enjoy this game, it's because even though they are slow, there's just something about them that I just quite enjoy. Also, there are 2 light seeds which are up on those kind of... well, they're not levitating, but they're platforms hung up in the air. And I'm not going to get them right now because I am crazy, and to be perfectly honest, they are 2 light seeds which I never remember how to get at all. Every time I've played this game, they have been 2 of the light seeds which I've always struggled at getting. They're not difficult to get. It's just that my memory of how to get to them is appalling. Because what you need to do is that when you are kind of down on the planks, if you look to the right, there is a ring. You've got to climb up the wall at that point to be able to get high enough to jump backwards onto the platforms to then get the light seeds. You can't get them any other way. And every time I've played this game, I've just forgotten about it. It's like I remember the pain that they have caused me, but I can never remember how to get to them. So, yeah, that's going to be one of our collect it later selection of light seeds. Because I'm not climbing all the way up here again. I mean, you can just see the rings there. So, they are perfectly visible, but when you're going through everything, they're just not something that you really notice or care to notice. And yes, as you probably guessed, I did try and jump for it, and failed miserably. So, that was why there was a number of cutting bits there. Because there was no point in making you sit through those fails. Especially considering we're coming back here later to get them. So you might as well see it when I actually succeed. Rather than now. But saying that, well, that was a really stupid move. That was so stupid. So, what I was about to say before I got interrupted by a fail, which I decided to leave in because we got a light seed out of it. We are heading over, after we've done this, to our final fertile ground of the alchemists. And rather weirdly, there was a guide that I was using just to ensure that I got the puzzles correct, and just in case anything went hideously wrong. And it actually didn't include the next level. I don't know why. It confused me slightly that it was the case. But yeah, it didn't include it. And I mean, it's a very fun level. I mean, it's ever so slightly self-explanatory when you're there. But yeah, it happens. I mean, it's a very cool level, don't get me wrong, and it's going to be quite fun dealing with it because it introduces another new mechanic. And that's always good. Also, there was me praising this game's draw distance, and then we're seeing things pop in.
Sorry.
It's like,
It's okay.
I'm trying to praise you, game, and make you look good. Why do you have to try and embarrass me? I mean, saying that, it's really not as bad or offensive as it could be, considering that some of these things are very, very detailed, and it's doing the... I can't remember who started it as an idea, but it's the whole, when things are further away, give them less polygons and lower res textures, because people aren't going to be able to see them, and it means that you can focus on putting better textures on the things that are closer to you. And as a kind of game design thing, that's really clever. And kind of up until the next gen consoles came out, that was a perfectly reasonable way of dealing with that. Also, there are another two light seeds which I'm going to miss, which require you to drop down just there to a patch of vines below you, but don't worry, we will get that after we've beaten the next fertile ground, which is called Heaven's Stair, And that is where we are heading next time, as soon as Elika and the Prince have finished talking and repeating their dialogue, because I've kind of used up a lot of the original stuff now, which is a shame, but I've had these guys talk a lot, which I'm quite proud of, because it doesn't really ever happen. So, let's head to Heaven's Stair.